I'm a feminist. I'm a man, and I believe that feminism is good for men. I got inspired by feminism 25 years ago in the squatters movement in Amsterdam. We were young, we were angry at the world, and we were optimistic about the possibilities for change. We were radical activists, we were revolutionaries, we were on the barricades day and night. In our private lives, in our public lives, there was not much difference between the two. And we were fighting against all the injustices in the world. Homelessness, poverty, capitalism, exploitation of people, of animals, of the earth, violence, sexism, homophobia, racism, fascism, war, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a few. We were revolutionaries, and we were also utopians. We wanted to create a better world. We opened empty spaces. We started to live there, we started to work there. Can you imagine the magic of opening empty spaces? All the things you can do there, we started to do them. We started to experiment, to live together, to work together, to decide together. And I got lucky. I got to live in a wonderful building. It was a former hospital next to the Vondelpark in Amsterdam. And I lived there from the start with 4 women and 1 other man. And we had discussions about gender relations, about feminism, about how to share household responsibilities, how to share also the other revolutionary responsibilities. And we discussed a lot. I started reading, I went to lectures. I studied feminism, I studied women's studies after that. And I felt this is a theory, an analysis that makes sense to me as a revolutionary and as a utopian. Feminism that inspired me gave a critical analysis of the world we live in. It pointed out that all the wrongs, all the injustices that we were fighting against, they were, in most cases, caused by men, and also in most cases, it were men who profited from these injustices. And at the same time, it pointed out that our daily lives, our personal socialization, our relationships with each other, with ourselves, had a lot to do with that bigger picture. So I dove into feminism, and I've seen what feminism did, and I think feminism achieved really a lot in this world. And women in the last 100 years successfully claimed and gained access to political power, to the vote, to education, to, what's the word? The labor market, to places of decision making. And women proved that they can do what men can do. Women, as we all know, when they want to have equal opportunities, they need to do double effort. They have to double their effort to achieve the same as men can achieve. And still then, it's not easy. And women had to explore their so-called masculine side. Women had to explore and develop their masculine qualities, because we all have masculine and feminine qualities inside ourselves. And men, from the birth on, they learn to suppress and deny their so-called feminine qualities. And women learn from birth on not to be mannish, to suppress and deny their so-called masculine qualities. But then feminism came and told women it is possible, you can do what men can do, and you have to claim this power, you have to claim equal access, equal rights. And so women did. And so women proved that they can do what men can do. Rosie the Riveter is an important symbol for the women's movement. Rosie was a symbol for all the women who went during the World War, the Second World War, into the factories in America, when the men went to the front for the war. And they proved that they can do what men can do. They could work in the factories and keep the war industry going. And then the men came back from the front, and the women were expected to go back to the households, to the kitchen. And they didn't easily accept that. So this was one of the important seeds for what became the second wave of feminism in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. So we now have women who can do what men can do. And that's very important. And of course, women have all the right and the need to be able to do what men can do. But I learned that feminism also had another side, and that was the side that inspired me. Because there was not only a call for equality, there was also a call for change. Feminism wanted to change the world, change patriarchy, change the norms and values that set men and masculinity higher than women and femininity. And that, for me as a man, is what appealed in feminism. Of course, justice for all is very important. But being told that what men do, they should stop doing, and then women want to do what men have been doing, what alternative is there for me as a man? Well, the alternative for me as a man is in the difference that is in what we call feminine qualities. That is in communication, relationships, care, all those things we say we value. And at the same time, we teach men and citizens in general now to be independent, to be competitive, to be alone and isolated. And yes, it's very good that women can do what men can do. But the sad thing is sometimes that women then also start to do the stupid things that men have been doing. And another sad thing is that we still haven't solved all those problems that we were fighting against. Homelessness, poverty, capitalism, exploitation, violence, sexism, homophobia, racism, fascism, war, they continue still. And I believe that part of the problem is that we don't put men forward as also part of the solution. We left men aside. We said, okay, you're part of the problem. We're going to change women so that women can solve all the world's problems. And what about men? So we lost something on the way. And this is very personal. It's not only political. I've been asking for many years, what is the gain for men in feminism? And it's not in the public domain. It's not where they come from. It's where they can go to. Women have been moving from the private domain to the public domain, from feminine qualities to more masculine qualities. And men are moving slowly but steadily more into the private domain, more into the personal lives, more into what we call feminine qualities, which in the end makes no sense to call them masculine and feminine qualities if we have them all. So luckily, there is a growing movement of men and also women who see men as capable of being fully human, because this is what feminism is about. Men are humans too. I think in 100 years, there's been a lot achieved by the feminist movement, and still we're not there. And we're only gradually starting to get men engaged in all these activities, in this trying to make a better world. And if we want to have a better world, we need to get men involved. And what do we need to get involved from men? Their feminine side. When I was an activist, when I was a revolutionary on these barricades, I would be there with my comrades, with my friends, most of them male, and we would die for each other. And we would fight for each other, and we would go to prison for each other if necessary. But we didn't really know each other. We didn't really know ourselves, and we were not really allowed to show ourselves to each other. We were public, and we were masculine, and we were not allowed to be private with each other, not allowed to be emotional with each other. For that, we would have women in our lives. And slowly but gradually, I learned that there is a whole empty space inside of me and inside of other men. Empty space that we can open up and explore. Empty space that we can fill with the other half of our human qualities. And I'm happy to be part of the growing movement of organizations, of people working on this. And then we have this symbol. This is used by an international campaign for equal and non-transferable parental leave, because maybe this is where it all starts. We should teach men that they are important in caregiving, that they can be caregivers, that they are caregivers, in fact. So, I believe feminism is good for men because it liberates the femininity in men. Thank you.